Hey, what's up, y'all? Big Wooly here, and welcome back to another episode of our FTB Skies Expert Let's Play. So in today's episode, I got organized. We are going to make extended pattern providers thanks to someone in the comments. We're going to work on our cryo fuel, and we are going to try to get through the mechanism set up for the plutonium pellets we need for our end of game questline and node overclockers for automated plating blocks. It's ambitious, I know, but without further ado, let's get into it. Alright, so for starters, we're just going to go ahead and add in a pattern for the extended pattern provider because I have a feeling we're going to need this for our thermal stuff because, you know, I didn't even know these were in the pack. So I don't remember the comment or who made the comment, but someone made a comment on one of my recent ones wondering why I was adding more pattern providers, and I didn't know these were in here. So we have extended pattern providers from AE2 or extended AE. These apparently allow us to hold more patterns per thing. The extended interface, I really don't know what that's for. Like, I'm not necessarily sure what I would put that on. And then we have an extended drive, which I think holds more drives, maybe. Not real sure. Yeah, it looks like capacity card, so more drives in our drive housing. But right now, we're getting by all right, just fine on that 256K that's in there because most of our storage is actually in the storage controller. So let's add in this pattern. Everything else, it looks like, is already in there. So we'll toss that in, and then let's see what one of these things look like. So make me 10 of them. I don't think there's even 10 processes, but at least all of the thermal machines that make the gears and wire and plate and rods and all that. We probably could use one for each one of those. So there we have it. Not all of them are done, but enough for what we need to get done are done. So here is an extended pattern provider. Let's head over to one of the offending blocks and see just how many it allows us to add in. I guess let's try to replace the one on the top right here. Do I have inventory space? I do. Okay. Because stuff's about to go bloop. All right. So now, extended pattern provider. Holy cow! This is blocking mode. Don't push if the crafting container. No, that's fine on this one because it's not like it has more than one input. So, holy smokes! So that holds the equivalent of 4 of them. Heck yeah! Good shout out comments, and it'll save big on channels too. That is a win. About to free up some channels on this row. We can even come over here to this one, which is gears. And I won't make you guys watch me do it, but I am going to go ahead and swap out all of the ones that have the 2 for the single ones real quick, and then we'll move on. One other thing worth showing you is that these can also be converted into the flat version of the pattern provider, just like the other ones. So when I did the gears here, I did that there. You still need your cable to come down and connect to it. They can also be wrenched to be directional, just like a regular pattern provider. So just take your Certus Quartz wrench and, you know, right click the different faces till you get it aimed the way you need it to. And yeah, so that'll be nice. The only downside of this is, so now I'm going to have a total of 36 items that could potentially have conflicts in the multi-servo press. So we may want to start looking at these super duper efficiency things that we got given early on to see if we can't maybe make this even faster when the crafts come through so that we don't have a big backup. All right, next on the list, extended pattern provider. Oh, we needed to add overcharged iron plate. I don't know that you guys need to see me make a pattern and stick it in a machine, but just in case you do, we'll do it real quick together. So overcharged iron plate, we've just never made the recipe for. So there we have it. Send one of those, you get one of those back. And you are going to go into a multi-servo press. So actually, I'm just going to toss it in that other one because we've got room for pattern in that one. And yeah, so, but here I did it for the gears as well, as you can see. I didn't do it for rods or wire because we haven't needed anything else yet. But if those fill up, we can always toss on an extended pattern provider for more space. So we can mark that off. Cryo fuel. So at the end of last episode, we crafted up our cryo freezer. This cryo freezer is going to be making us a fluid. I think we have like one channel left out here for fluids, and the cryo freezer only needs one thing exported, and then I do believe that the cryo fuel is a fluid. Let's double check that. And if it is, we will be able to pump it into an ender tank and then use it wherever we need to and tie it into our drawers over there. So one channel should be more than enough. So let's grab out a cable and an export bus. And we've already gotten the ice shards coming in from our bees previously, so we don't have to do anything for the material we need. Those ice shards are being generated right now. Haha, get it? Being... Okay, I'm sorry. I am a dad, in case y'all don't know. Oh, interesting. So that can... I wonder if we connect to the top of this block or the one below it. I guess we're going to find out. Yeah, it looks like we connect. It's gonna be glitchy. All right, and this needs power. So let's bring some power over. Universal cable. Close floor back up. And now we need to tell you to export ice shards. Oh, the ice shards aren't coming in from bees. That was when we made the fishbowl we didn't need to make. They're coming in from space. Ice shards from space. Now, will you take in those items from the top? Or are you a sighted block? Does not appear to be liking it. So let's try another face. As you can tell by my inventory, I tried all kinds of hoppers. Apparently, it only likes a vanilla hopper from the top. So, and it gives us 0.25 of a bucket of cryo fuel for each ice shard. We're going to need a lot more ice shards. So we may have to look into speeding up that process in space, but that does get our cryo fuel going. Now, I'm wondering what kind of issues we're going to have with this thing in getting the fluids out, because if I can only vanilla hopper into the top, how am I going to get the fluids out? Give me a minute. I'm going to get us a chest set up for an export buffer for the shards, and then we will try to get our fluid out. Thinking about how to get our fluids out, and I went to go grab a ender tank and realized I didn't have any, but we have not added them to our automation yet, but we did tie in the quantum assembler now, so we can add ender tanks, we can add ender chests. And then I also had the realization that I don't necessarily need to use an ender tank in this case, because I was just going to be moving it into a fluid drawer over here on the other side of the base. But we're going to, what is the thing called? The entangled block. There we go. Oh, no. Well, this will be a case for an extended pattern provider. So we need to go put one of these on that entangled block so we can put these two in there. But we'll do that in a minute. So we're not going to use an ender tank for it. We are going to just put a fluid drawer out there. There's already a drawer controller out at that part of the base, so there's no reason to not just tie into, we're already storing fluids in a drawer controller in other places. So let's make a fluid drawer. Now let's go see how we get fluids out of here. I hope it's not the bottom, because if it is, I'll have to move where power's coming in. It'll be ugly, but we can handle it. But it may be. It may be the bottom. So let's see. Let's grab out some pipe of some kind. Ultimate mechanical pipe will work. And let's grab that drawer. Oh, the drawer might be able to do it with a puller too, actually. Let's see. Do we have a puller? We do have a puller. I wonder if laser IO can laser IO into the top of it, of this other block. We want you to pull from the west. Yes! Haha! Look at that. Simple. Clean. Oh my goodness, I love it. That's perfect. All right, let's grab out our linking tool, set it here. Let's grab out our locking tool and let's lock this so that it can only take that fluid and then link it up. So now we have our cryo fuel automated. Yes, I put an export thing on here and it has exported every single ice shard we have already into that chest. So now I wonder, since it's got a full buffer, let's check laser IO real quick. I won't make you guys watch me because you've seen it 100 times. I'll just check it and let you know if it works. I can confirm laser IO does not work, but a vanilla hopper does, and we can pull though with a puller upgrade on a fluid drawer, which means that if this drawer will interact with it We probably could put a drawer here, but I'm not going to waste the whole episode trying to figure out some other way to do something when we have a way that works. So this is kind of a big buffer. I might downsize that chest at some point, and if I do, I might test it and I'll let you guys know. But there we have it, cryo fuel. Let's mark it off the list. All right, so let's go jump over the mechanism for right now, and let's go do this node overclockers thing, because this won't take long, and it's just something that I figured out. So we were watching in yesterday's episode, and there was stuff not feeding through here. It was like stacking up in this drawer, and it was like waiting. So I figured out that this node has a good bit of things flowing through it, right, and back through it. So what I think is happening is it might be this one that's interacting with the drawer controller, actually, because it's having to do all the inserts and exports of all the things. So I think this is where we're supposed to use node overclocker cards. Now, we made some one time, and I was like, oh, I meant to make card overclockers, and I have never used the node ones because I don't, I'm not a laser IO expert. I'm just figuring it out as I go. So I think we can put these in here, and that should help with the bulk import and export when we do a big craft. Here, it should help this node be able to handle the throughput of all the items, because this is where everything is basically coming into and then getting sent out. Everything else is really kind of only handling its own functions. So this node's only sending things back when they get there, and it's only sending them here. This is only pulling items out of here and going into there when they're done, and these are just inserting into their own individual blocks. But this one's got a ton of things that it's been asked to do, and I think that's what the node overclockers are for. Now, they're face-based. Yes, so they need to go in the face that's doing the work, too. Cool. I think we got them right. We'll find out next time we do a craft. But I wanted to cover that with you guys. And now for the doozy. I can't avoid it any longer. Let's go over to the chest, and we'll talk about the task in front of us. All right, y'all. Here's the chest. It's been here forever. You guys have probably seen it on video 20 times. Mechanisms, reactor stuff, man, it's always a doozy. I'm always worried about melting down my base and all sorts of stuff like that. So I don't necessarily like it the most, but we're going to conquer our fears together. So we need a personal shrinking device, right? Right. Where is it? There it is. For those of you that don't know, personal shrinking device goes to compact machines. Compact machines are another dimension that you can build in. So let's go take a look inside this one. Take your personal shrinking device. Now, you shift right click, gives you the little tutorial, but if you just right click on a compact machine, it's going to take you to another dimension. This maximum one, I do believe, is 13 by 13. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Yep, it's 13 by 13 by 13 cube. So we can do whatever we want in here, and if it melts down and destroys our base, there's no worries with it. Now, none of the blocks that we have in our inventory currently need to be in here, but once we get to making our waste, we are going to need to store our waste in barrels, and that waste can, if you let it overflow, you got bad things. But we're not quite to waste yet, but I think we have to process the waste today. We have to get to it. So let's just get started. We're going to need to get things in and out of here. Now, Mechanism has its own thing for moving fluids, items, all sorts of stuff in and out of other dimensions. Or we could put another quantum link ring inside the compact machine as well. I'm not necessarily sure what I want to do for all of that as of right now, but these machines, I think, are safe for us to do up here until we get to the point where we're making our waste. So let's just carry out a subnet up here, and then when we get to the point where it'll get dangerous, we will, we'll move into the compact machine. So I need some fat cables. That's with a pH. These cables are thick. All right, now we're gonna need a P2P and some frequencies and stuff, and I'm gonna pick us a cable or color for our little mechanism area over here. So let me get that together, and we'll move on. All right, got us some channels brought over, and I figured since we're making nuclear waste, we're just gonna make this network brown, okay? It is what it is. We're going with brown cables, to carry out. Now let's take a look at this process we've got to start down the road of. So they gave us uranium, which might ought to make us think we're gonna need to make uranium, right? So we are getting the uranium crystals. How do we take those crystals and turn them into ingots? It's a hot mess. It's a hot mess of a process, let me tell you. They were so nice to give us the 16 they gave us, but yeah, we're going to need way more than that, which is why we've been trying to stockpile these uranium crystals for as long as we can. Now, the process to get through them is we have to take this crystal, and this crystal needs to go into a chemical injection chamber with hydrogen chloride, which we get from salt, or we can make it in a chemical infuser with chlorine and hydrogen and combine them into chemical thingamajig. Now, I think we have a lot of salt, like to the tune of 50,000. Now, I don't know how much that's going to turn into, but rather than having to make another fluid right now, we're going to start with salt. So it was the chemical injection chamber that we're going to need first, and we're just going to start right here. So let's break it out. We're going to need power. All right, we got some power. So let's throw down the chemical injection chamber. So we're going to make this as like a contained process. We're going to export the things we need all along the way. I don't think we need too much of the interim. We'll take a look at it as we go through the process and see if we need any of the byproducts, but I think the process we're headed down right now is literally just to get us our uranium ingots. So bring down the brown, and you are going to need an export bus, and you get uranium and salt, and you're going to need a capacity card and some salt. And we're going to put you on round robin, and we're going to tell you that you can take in your items for... Oh, is this going to be a mechanism problem? Because we can't specify it can't also be the yellow. I forgot about that. All right, so we're going to have to change this up. We're going to have to do 2 export buses or like a chest and laser IO. I don't necessarily know. Let's just go 2 export buses for now. You don't need a capacity card, and then you need salt, and we tell you that you get your salt from the back. Give it some acceleration cards, and there we have it. That is going to produce us uranium shards. Next, so our uranium shards are going to go into the machine right next to it, which needs to be a purification chamber, which is getting flint or oxygen. So do we want to go electrolytic separator to feed it the oxygen and just dump the hydrogen for now? It'd probably be smart. So did I make an electrolytic separator? I did not. We don't have a pattern for it. Let's go add a pattern. All right. Added a pattern, got ourselves an electrolytic separator. We are going to tell it to export water with an export bus. And since we only have 1 export bus left and we're going down one of these crazy crafts, let's get some more going so that we don't have to wait on them to be made when we need them. So we'll tell it to make us 10. That should be enough to get us through the process. Now you are going to export water into the electrolytic separator. We'll give you speed upgrades too. I added power in underneath and then just set it on top so that we could utilize this cable. And then we're going to tell you that for your oxygen, which is gas 2, right? Gases, we want you to output that to the back. Turn off the other outputs so that we don't have them accidentally go somewhere, and we're going to tell it to dump the excess hydrogen for now. So then the uranium shards, what did they go into? Is it purification? I don't remember. Uranium. So the uranium crystals, they go into the purification chamber with oxygen, and they make uranium clumps. Okie doke. Purification chamber. You're getting your oxygen, and then all you need now is this one. So items, you're going to output to your right. That is correct. We are going to turn auto eject on. Now, that's going to make our uranium clumps. Our uranium clumps will need to be processed in a crusher. So the crusher is going to turn it into dirty uranium dust, and I already made the crusher. Crusher here. You clear all sides, input from the left, output to the right, auto put enabled. Okay, and that's going to make our dirty uranium dust, which needs to be run through an enrichment chamber. So we'll add some more universal cable. We will grab out our enrichment chamber. We're going to go to its items and we're going to tell it clear all sides, and that you can take items in from the left, and we're going to clear your sides for items and tell you to take in from the left and out to the right with auto output on. And that's going to send this over to the enrichment chamber and turn it into uranium dust. Now our uranium dust can finally, at the very end, be smelted into uranium ingots. And we have our source of uranium. That was a lot of work to make a uranium ingot. Okay. And I went ahead and I made us an energized smelter for that uranium ingot process, and this is going to get us to the ingots we need. Toss it down, and then we can tell you that you can output to the right, and we can tell you that you can clear all sides, and you can take in from the right, and we're going to have you output to the top with auto eject on. Now for uranium ingots, I'm going to get me out a compacting drawer, because I don't know if we're going to need them in the different sizes, but I do know that they can go in there. So let's get out a framed compacting drawer. We are missing 5 iron substrate. How are we missing 5 iron substrate? All right, so I figured it out. I'm not missing 5 iron substrate. I just have a very old pattern that is using the iron substrate when we can indeed use iron nuggets for the pattern. So what we basically need to do is come find our compacting drawer pattern in here, which was one of the early ones. Framed simple, framed regular. All right, we're going to take this one out that's using iron plate. We're going to take both of these out that are using iron plate, and we're going to fix them. So, oh wait, no, that's fine. Simple is fine. You're not the one with the problem. You have a problem. You need to be this recipe that uses everything that we actually still have. There we go. All right, so now we don't have to like go back and try and figure out how to get iron, iron shards again. We can just make them with the materials we have, and we should be able to request our compacting drawer now. There we go. So once that compacting drawer is crafted up for us, we're going to sit it right here on the top, and we are going to tell this, once we tell it auto eject there, and then you are going to auto eject to the top, and let's make sure it goes into the compacting drawer right. Now we don't really need any speed or anything upgrades on this, because this is going to be a passive process that once this compacting drawer is full, it's full. We're not going to have to do anything else with it, and it will store everything we need it to store. So there we have it. Now I can put all of my uranium in there. It will auto output in here, and it will actually stop the process once this is full of uranium. So when we get to a point where we have too much, we won't overflow on it. Now, you were like, Wooly, you said that we were going to mechanism set up for plutonium pellets. We can't make the plutonium pellets without an automated source of uranium. We only had 16 uranium. This is the start of that process. Mechanism is like this. We're going to be setting up crafts that are nested and nested and nested crafts that need, that's how mechanism is. So the last thing we're going to need to do today is hope that this is within range of that drawer controller and link it in. So we'll grab this linking tool and we will add the uranium drawer. Let's go ahead and also lock it. Now come check our storage, and there we have it. We can see our uranium crystals, which are being fed in here to make our uranium ingots, and we have the entire process for it set up. Let's see how that supply of salt is holding up. We've gone through 6,000 salt in not very many uranium. So we may have to figure out the hydrogen chloride, but that's no big deal. I think it can be done maybe in a fluid mixer, or it might be a mechanism. I think it's a mechanism setup, but either way, we will figure out how to get that going if we have to, but this gets us uranium. Now, let's take a look at the actual process to get us these plutonium pellets, because this is going to change everything. Creative energy cell, unlimited power to be able to feed through our AE2 setup. Now, I don't know if I can get that back out to machines and other things. Can I feed a flux plug with a FE P2P tunnel and have unlimited power everywhere? I don't know. I want to get there to find out, because if so, that's going to super speed up the end of the pack, because you wait on power, and we're going to be waiting on these, because I do know that in this process, somewhere for this cryofuel stuff, we're going to need elemental craft, so having those containers will be good too. For this, we need plutonium, water, and fluorite dust. Now, chasing the plutonium, we need nuclear waste, which is processed in an isotropic centrifuge. To get our nuclear waste, we need fissile fuel to burn in our fission reactor. To make our fissile fuel, we need to feed uranium. Huh? See why we just did uranium hexafluoride into a fission reactor setup, which is a multi-block that's going to generate heat that we can then use to turn impellers to make power. But if we're about to get unlimited power, we don't even need to use it to make power. We just have to deal with the steam or the superheated sodium. So, uranium oxide, hydrofluoric acid. These have been pinned up here for a while. These things right here. So to get the uranium oxide, it is yellow cake uranium in a chemical oxidizer. Our yellow cake uranium, there you go. We've found the beginning of the process. So we're going to start with an enrichment chamber to make our yellow cake uranium. This is yet another process that doesn't need to be inside the compact machine. So let's get an enrichment chamber, which I think I already made. Now, this enrichment chamber, it can just go right here. We've got plenty of channels in the making nuclear wasteland. So here is our enrichment chamber. This is going to need to take the uranium ingots into here. Now, I don't want to feed it directly out of this drawer per se. Actually, it wouldn't hurt now that I'm thinking about it. There's no real reason we couldn't. So let's just feed these out of there. And let's configure this pipe. So there you go. It's feeding the uranium ingots straight into this enrichment chamber, which is going to give us our yellow cake uranium. Now, the yellow cake uranium is how we get the uranium oxide side of our fissile fuel. The other side is, well, of our uranium hexafluoride, which then becomes fissile fuel in an isotropic centrifuge. So our hydrofluoric acid, we're actually already making. We don't have to set up a process for that. We should have hydrofluoric acid in the liquid form in our storage. Yep, we got 8 buckets worth of it stored up already, hydrofluoric acid. So we can take the hydrofluoric acid from mechanism directly out into here and feed it into the setup. Are any of those what we need? Did the bee drop anything good? None of you. Yeah, none of you guys are what we need. Oh, of course, the last thing he drops, there's a Godforged Pearl. Can we get it before it despawns? Yes. Okay, awesome. I think that puts us with like 2 more we need for the in-game quests. Where were we before the bee interrupted? Oh yes, we have the yellow cake. That is going to make our uranium oxide. Now we need to make the hydrofluoric acid, but we don't because it's already being made. So now we need, it's not a chemical oxidizer, we need a chemical infuser to make them. So do we have it? Chemical infuser. Chemical oxidizer, chemical injection chamber. We don't. We need a chemical infuser. We can make everything for it. So let's make one up. All right, we had a backup. Liquid elemental void was not processing for whatever reason, and now we have a backup of some fluids in one of our crafters, waiting on them to be used so that, you know, that crafter can become available again. Happens every now and then with these fluid drawers when you don't have a void card in there because you're controlling the amount made with the drawer itself, and it doesn't have anywhere to put them back. But not the end of the world. So we did get our chemical infuser finished, I do believe, or the materials for it at least. So chemical infuser. There we go. And now the chemical infuser we're going to need to set up here in our same area to make the uranium hexafluoride. Chemical infuser, the yellow cake uranium is going to be coming out right here. So that needs to be, yep. So let's go like right here. All right. So what is our process on the yellow cake uranium to uranium oxide? We need a chemical oxidizer, which is why I had one of those in the chest. So we're going to put the chemical oxidizer down, and we're going to tell it that it can take items in from the left, and we're going to tell you that you can eject your items to the right. So input from the top, output to the right, auto eject on, and this should get us our next tier. We need power under here for our machine, one piece at a time, like Johnny Cash. All right, so now we have our uranium oxide. That needs to be taken in here. So we're going to tell it that you can take in your gases from the back for the red one. Okay, right? This thing's going to need power as well. Why are you not taking in your... Oh, because we didn't tell you could eject. So gases to the back, and auto eject is on. There we go. So now we have our uranium oxide. Let's bring some brown cable on out, and then bring a new set of cables down. And you are going to need an export bus. I said you are going to need an export bus that is exporting hydrofluoric acid, right? Right. Toss some acceleration cards in there. And then I need to tell you that you can get this gas from the top. And now we're making our uranium hexafluoride. One more step to fizzle fuel. But I think if we keep chasing this, we're going to have an 1.5 hour long episode, and they just don't do well. So we're going to stop right there. We made it all the way to getting our uranium hexafluoride, and in the next episode, we will make up our isotropic centrifuge, which requires some stuff from our cryo and fuel. So there's another process there before we can proceed anyways. And this makes for a good stopping point. So I hope you guys have enjoyed it. I hope you've been able to follow along and you've learned something. I just want to say thank you to everybody that is still watching this series. I'm very much still enjoying the pack. It's just, you know, the views are definitely down. So I have to think, do I keep doing this or do I do something else? I know the ones that are watching will say to keep doing it, and I'm going to do it because I want to finish it. So we will see you guys next time.